Okay, so now we're going to jump into the world of triangle congruence. So that's what 4-2, 4-3, and 4-6 are about. So our first one, 4-2, triangle congruence by SSS and SAS. So SSS stands for side, side, side. What that means is if 3 sides of one triangle are congruent to 3 sides of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Now, it used to be we needed all 3 sides and all 3 angles. This is saying if you just have all 3 sides, it works. Okay, so that's one way of proving it. And we can see here that they can be congruent sides, and also if they share a side. So let's say, let's go back over here. They share this side. I'm going to say this side's congruent to that side. Okay, so this triangle, I'm going to call it A, B, C, D. Okay. Right here, because they share a side, that's called the reflexive property. Okay, and so that's very important to know. And so we can write that right here. Reflexive property. Okay. RP. Reflexive property. And I'm probably going to add that to these notes. But for the reflexive property, that's if they share a side, okay? Shared side. That's very important to know because that counts as a third side. So we have side, side, shared side. That's an important thing to note, okay? And then I also want to note that we don't need any angles to be known in here. So in this case, we would know some angles, but just the 3 sides, we can say triangle. So this is called our congruent statement. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. Remember, letter order matters. So if I started with A, I have to start with D. Triangle D, and then I went to B, and then C. By SSS. That's how I would write that. That's my congruent statement. That's a very important thing to understand. Okay. So the second one is side angle side postulate. Okay, if 2 sides and the included angle. This one's very important. Look at where the A is. It's in between the 2 S's. It has to be. That's there for a reason, okay? It has to be side angle side. So we would see right here, the way we read this, side angle side, side angle side. So this is side, side, side. This is side angle side. The angle has to be in between the 2 congruent sides. That must be true, okay? And they could still share a side. That's totally fine. So let's say, let's use the same example, but do it a little bit different. Okay. So they're both going to have this right angle. They share this side. So then all I really have to say is that these 2 sides are congruent. And then I can have the same thing here. I'm going to say W, X, Y, Z. And so because of the reflexive property, RP, the reflexive property, we can say triangle WXY is congruent to triangle, remember letter order matters, ZXY by side angle side. Okay, so we have side angle side because that must be a right angle as well because it's also a straight line equals 180. Okay, side angle side with these 2. Okay, with those 2. So that's how I would write that answer. This is my congruent statement. So when it asks you to write the congruent statement, that's what you say. I'm going to change shared side to the reflexive property. I'll write that here in a moment. But look for that on the notes. I will update those to say reflexive property. That's the more accurate name for shared side. So keep that in mind. Okay. And then when we get to our problems, it says problems 4 through 11. We can see just on the example